Have you ever felt the frustration of giving your all, only to feel like it's still not enough? The kind of feeling where your hard work goes unnoticed, your efforts seem invisible, and your achievements are met with silence? If this resonates with you, then the incredible story of Belisarius, a forgotten hero of history, might just change the way you view your own struggles. This is a story of perseverance, unyielding strength, and an unbreakable spirit in the face of betrayal and injustice. Belisarius was not just any general. He was one of the most brilliant military minds to ever grace the pages of history. Despite saving entire civilizations through his strategic genius, he was treated with ingratitude, stripped of his honors, and left to fade into obscurity. Yet instead of succumbing to despair, Belisarius turned to an ancient philosophy, Stoicism, that gave him a strength that transcended any external circumstance. He found resilience where others might find ruin. In this journey through the life of Belisarius, we'll explore how he faced adversity with grace and how the Stoic mindset can empower you to build resilience and self-respect. We'll learn why simply doing the work, showing up with integrity and courage, is enough, regardless of whether the world takes notice. Chapter 1. The Rise of Belisarius. Belisarius was undeniably one of the most accomplished military leaders of the 6th century. Serving under the esteemed Byzantine Emperor Justinian, he achieved remarkable victories across the ancient world. From Dara to Carthage, Naples to Sicily, and even reclaiming Rome itself, all before the age of 40, Belisarius left an indelible mark on history. Yet his fame and recognition never matched the magnitude of his accomplishments. Despite his unwavering loyalty, Belisarius faced ingratitude and betrayal at the hands of Justinian. The emperor, driven by insecurity and fear of Belisarius' popularity, continuously undermined the general's achievements with false accusations and political machinations. Belisarius' life took a tragic turn. He was stripped of his wealth, titles, and even his sight, forcing him to rely on begging to survive. Imagine saving entire civilizations, only to find yourself homeless and begging for food. The injustice he faced seemed almost unbearable, but what stands out the most in his story is not the cruelty he endured, but the profound resilience with which he faced it. Instead of giving in to despair, Belisarius chose to embody the tenets of Stoicism, focusing only on what was within his control and letting go of the rest. The Stoic philosophy, particularly the concept known as the dichotomy of control, teaches that, while we have control over our actions, attitudes, and effort, we cannot control external events or other people's responses. Chapter 2. The Power of the Dichotomy of Control. Belisarius understood that while he could control his bravery, actions, and loyalty on the battlefield, he could not control whether the emperor rewarded or punished him. This understanding helped him remain steadfast, no matter how unjust his circumstances became. The Stoics emphasized that we cannot control external factors, such as recognition, rewards, or circumstances. Our suffering often arises not from these events themselves, but from our judgments and expectations around them. As the Stoic philosopher Epictetus famously said, "What disturbs people is not events themselves, but their judgments about those events." Belisarius didn't allow himself to be ruled by the desire for fame or recognition. He focused instead on his principles: courage, integrity, and duty. By doing this, he remained in control of his inner world, even when the external world turned against him. Chapter 3. The Ego Trap and the Freedom of Detachment. Most of us struggle with ego-driven expectations. We want recognition, validation, and success. We pour our hearts into projects only to feel crushed when they go unnoticed or unappreciated. The sting of being overlooked can be excruciating, and we might even be tempted to give up altogether. But Belisarius avoided this trap. Rather than seeking validation from others, he found sufficiency in his own actions. His self-respect came from knowing that he was doing his best, not from the accolades he received. This is a core teaching of Stoicism, that the ultimate goal is not external rewards, but the flourishing of one's character through virtues like courage, justice, wisdom, and temperance. Imagine having that kind of inner strength, a strength that remains unshaken no matter the challenges, betrayals, or disappointments life throws at you. Belisarius embodied this mindset, showing us that when we invest our self-worth in external accolades, we set ourselves up for perpetual disappointment. The ego's hunger is insatiable, always wanting more validation, more recognition. But Stoicism teaches us to find peace and fulfillment within ourselves, independent of external circumstances. Chapter 4. Stories of Stoic Resilience. Consider another powerful example, a modern one. In 1993, Nelson Mandela, after being imprisoned for 27 years, was released and went on to become the president of South Africa. He didn't let anger or the desire for revenge dictate his actions, even after decades of mistreatment. Instead, he chose forgiveness and unity, demonstrating the same stoic detachment from bitterness that Belisarius did. Mandela controlled his actions, his forgiveness, and his mission, not the attitudes or actions of those around him. Or think about the countless artists whose work was never appreciated during their lifetime. Vincent van Gogh, for instance, is today regarded as one of the greatest painters in history. Yet during his life, he sold only a handful of paintings and struggled with poverty and mental illness. Van Gogh never saw the recognition he deserved, but he kept painting because his passion and dedication were enough for him. His fulfillment came from the act of creating, not the approval of others. The power of stoic resilience can be seen across many different walks of life. It is found in the single mother who works tirelessly to provide for her children without expecting praise. It is found in the teacher who dedicates themselves to their students, knowing that the impact they make may never be fully acknowledged. These individuals embody the essence of Stoicism, finding meaning and fulfillment through their values and actions rather than the validation of others. Chapter 5. Applying the Stoic mindset in everyday life. So what can we learn from Belisarius, Mandela, and Van Gogh? The Stoic mindset teaches us to focus on what we can control, our thoughts, actions, and values, and to let go of what we can't control, such as other people's opinions or outcomes beyond our influence. When you internalize this mindset, you gain an unshakable confidence that comes from within. You stop being shaken by criticism, setbacks, or failures. These things no longer define your worth because your self-esteem is rooted in your effort and intentions, in your ability to stay true to your virtues no matter what. The Stoics were not suggesting that you should never feel disappointment or frustration. Negative emotions are natural. However, they argued that you should not let those emotions define you or control your behavior. When faced with failure or criticism, ask yourself, did I act with integrity? Did I put in my best effort? If the answer is yes, then that is enough. Practical application. Try incorporating this practice into your daily life. Every evening, take a few minutes to reflect on the day. Ask yourself whether you acted in alignment with your values. Did you give your best effort? Did you respond to challenges with integrity and courage? By focusing on these internal metrics, you can gradually shift your sense of self-worth away from external outcomes. Chapter 6. The Power of Letting Go. Letting go of the need for external approval can feel liberating. It removes an immense burden from your shoulders, the need to please others, to prove yourself constantly, to gain validation from people who might never appreciate you. Instead, you begin to find fulfillment in the quality of your efforts. This doesn't mean that you should never aim for success or recognition. It's natural to want these things, but the key is not to need them. Let them be a pleasant surprise when they come, rather than a condition for your happiness. When you cultivate this stoic mindset, you gain the freedom to pursue your ambitions without fear of failure or rejection. You do the work because it's meaningful to you, not because you need the world's validation. You become more resilient and persistent, knowing that the true reward lies not in the outcome, but in the effort itself. Practical exercise. Think of an area in your life where you often seek approval from others, whether at work, in relationships, or through social media. For 1 week, commit to shifting your focus inward. Measure your success based on your effort and integrity rather than on the feedback or validation you receive from others. Reflect on how this change in perspective affects your mood and motivation. Chapter 7. Overcoming the Fear of Failure. The fear of failure often paralyzes us, preventing us from taking action and pursuing our dreams. Belisarius teaches us that failure is not the enemy. It's our response to failure that matters. By letting go of the need for success and focusing on the process, we can overcome our fear of failure. The Stoic mindset allows us to see setbacks as opportunities to learn and grow, rather than as reflections of our worth. Failure is a natural part of any endeavor worth pursuing. Great leaders, inventors, and artists have all experienced failures. The difference lies in how they responded to those failures. Thomas Edison, for example, famously viewed his failures as valuable learning experiences on the path to success. Each time his experiments failed, he saw them as steps that brought him closer to the solution. Practical exercise. Reflect on a recent situation where fear of failure held you back. Write down how you can reframe that experience by focusing on the process rather than the outcome. This exercise will help you develop a mindset that embraces growth and learning over fear. Chapter 8. The Inner Fortress. The Stoics often spoke of cultivating an inner fortress, a place of strength and resilience within ourselves that remains untouched by the chaos of the outside world. Belisarius exemplified this idea. No matter how many external honors were stripped from him, his inner sense of integrity and duty remained unbroken. We too can build our own inner fortress by focusing on our values and aligning our actions with them, regardless of external circumstances. When external circumstances become overwhelming, your inner fortress can provide a sense of stability and peace. It is the knowledge that despite whatever turmoil is occurring in the outside world, your values and principles remain intact. This inner resilience is what allows us to withstand life's most challenging moments. Practical exercise. Take a few minutes each day to write down your core values and reflect on how your actions align with them. This practice will help you build an inner fortress that supports you through challenging times. You might even create a personal mantra that reflects your values, which you can repeat to yourself during moments of difficulty to ground yourself. Chapter 9. The Joy of Purposeful Work. Belisarius found purpose in his duty, even when recognition was lacking. When we find joy in the work itself, when we commit to our passions, not for applause but for the fulfillment they bring, we become unstoppable. Purposeful work, done with dedication and integrity, becomes its own reward. The Stoics believe that the true measure of a person lies not in what they achieve, but in how they conduct themselves in the pursuit of their goals. Many of the most inspiring people throughout history have been those who pursued their passions, regardless of whether they were recognized or rewarded for them. Think of writers like Emily Dickinson, who wrote nearly 1,800 poems during her lifetime, most of which were unpublished until after her death. Her work was driven not by the pursuit of fame, but by her passion for the written word. Practical exercise. Identify one task or passion project that you can engage in purely for the joy it brings you. Focus on doing it with excellence, regardless of whether anyone else recognizes your efforts. Notice how this changes your motivation and sense of fulfillment. Chapter 10. A Life of True Freedom. Belisarius showed up every day, fought battles, led with honor, and remained steadfast in his duty, regardless of how he was treated. His life is a testament to the freedom that comes from letting go of ego and focusing solely on what you can control. He teaches us that true power lies in our ability to align our actions with our values, regardless of the outcomes. In a world that constantly glorifies external success, material rewards, and public recognition, Belisarius' example serves as a powerful reminder of the enduring value of inner strength, integrity, and resilience. By embracing Stoicism, you can develop a mindset that allows you to rise above the chaos of external events and find a profound sense of fulfillment in simply being the best version of yourself. Quote for reflection. Success is peace of mind, which is a direct result of self-satisfaction in knowing you made the effort to become the best you are capable of becoming. John Wooden. Practical application. Take time to identify a situation where you have been seeking external validation. Reflect on how you could instead align your actions with your core values without being attached to the outcome. Practice this consistently and notice the freedom and inner peace that it brings. Remember, the work itself is enough. Show up, do your best, uphold your values, and let the rest take care of itself. This mindset is not just about surviving adversity, it's about thriving and finding meaning, no matter the circumstances. It's about building an unshakable core of self-respect, one that remains untouched by the fickle winds of fortune. By embodying this philosophy, you, like Belisarius, can learn to live a life of resilience, meaning, and true freedom. You may not always be celebrated for your efforts, but you can take solace in knowing that simply doing the work, showing up with courage and integrity, is always enough. Chapter 11. The Timeless Lessons of Stoicism. The lessons of Stoicism are not confined to a specific time period. They are timeless. They offer us guidance for navigating the complexities of modern life with grace and wisdom. The teachings of Epictetus, Marcus Aurelius, and Seneca remind us of the power that comes from focusing on what we can control and letting go of what we cannot. These lessons are as applicable today as they were centuries ago, offering a path to a more peaceful and fulfilling existence. Practical reflection. As you go about your day, take moments to reflect on the Stoic principle of control. When something doesn't go your way, pause and ask yourself, is this something within my control? If it is not, practice letting it go and redirecting your energy towards what you can influence. Chapter 12. Living a life of purpose and integrity. Belisarius lived his life with a sense of purpose that was unwavering, even in the face of adversity. He teaches us the importance of living a life aligned with our values and staying true to our principles, regardless of the external circumstances we face. This kind of integrity is rare but deeply fulfilling. It allows us to look back on our lives without regret, knowing that we acted with honor and courage. Practical application. Identify one area of your life where you feel misaligned with your values. What actions can you take to bring yourself back into alignment? Start small. Perhaps it's being more honest in your relationships or dedicating more time to a cause you believe in. Notice the difference it makes to your sense of inner peace. Quote for reflection, "You have power over your mind, not outside events. Realize this, and you will find strength." Marcus Aurelius. By embracing Stoic principles, you too can cultivate the kind of resilience and strength that allows you to face life's challenges with grace and confidence. The story of Belisarius is a powerful reminder that true success lies not in the accolades or rewards we receive, but in the integrity and courage with which we live our lives. Remember, the journey itself is the reward. The effort, the dedication, the courage to continue despite setbacks. These are the things that define a well-lived life. Let Belisarius be an inspiration to you as you navigate your own challenges. Show up, do the work, live with integrity, and know that this alone is enough.